I thank my good friend and chair for yielding. Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support of S. 1300, the Adoptive Family Relief Act. This bill seeks to remove obstacles for immigrant visas to be issued to adopted children from other countries and eliminates fees for such visas. Clearly, the challenge of caring for orphans due to crises worldwide is increasing. Rather than frustrate, however, or undermine the compassion and the love of American families who seek to adopt, this legislation modestly seeks to remove some of those barriers and some of those obstacles. I would point out to my colleagues that I've held a number of hearings on adoption in my subcommittee, the Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, Global Human Rights. And one of those hearings several months ago, one of our witnesses made a very keen observation that there are more than 50 million children orphaned on the continent of Africa. And that if you put that number in perspective, that would make those numbers of children, if they're in a single country, the fourth largest country in all of Africa after Nigeria, Ethiopia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. One remedy, of course, for this crisis is intercountry adoption, which sometimes brings children from Africa to our shores to provide them with loving homes. Of course, this is only a partial remedy. Many do find a place of living, a home with family members, but many others are left to fend for themselves. This legislation recognizes that countries' policies do matter. Look at the Democratic Republic of Congo. Currently, there are more than 400 American families who have successfully adopted children from the DRC. However, due to the DRC government's suspension of exit permits, which was implemented beginning in September of 2013, many of these families have been unable to bring their adopted children home to the United States. About a dozen of those children have paid with their lives, dying in the country before they could receive medical attention. Others are in dire need of medical aid, which again, this legislation would help, at least in terms of the families, to give them a bridge for the financial burdens they face. I would point out that in one of my hearings, one of the witnesses, really in a very powerful way, said, and her name was Giovanna Jones, an adoptive parent, and she said, and I quote, "As adoptive parents, we spent years preparing, and it's imperative that our children come home immediately. We have done our part," she said. "Our families have done all we can, and we are at our limits. Our arms are open now, and our homes are ready to receive them today." And then she said, "We pray that our government mirrors our dedication and acts so that our children will come home soon." This is a very important piece of legislation and hopefully will facilitate the adoption and at least help those parents who are putting money on the line, their money, and allows them to facilitate that adoption, to hang in there until they can get their children.